Hello, bonjour Alberta. Did you know that at least 238,000 people speak Français in Alberta? And those numbers just keep on growing? Oui, oui, c'est vrai, it's true. And thanks to Shaw TV Community Access Programming, we get to reach out to everyone to let you know all about special people, places, events, and activities happening right here in this great province, in both English and en français. That's right, mes amis. We begin the first part of our program in English, and then we repeat it en français. So stay with us. Restez à l'écoute.
Bienvenue and welcome to Hello, Bonjour, Alberta. I'm Mark Lalonde. In this episode, we're pleased to welcome representatives of the Canadian Parents for French, the Alberta branch. I have Michael Tryon, the Executive Director, and Nicholas Tryon, a student in French Immersion. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to start by finding out a little bit about you, both of you. So let's start with you, Michael. Might go on a bit longer than Nicholas, because you are longer than Nicholas. Yes. So where are you from originally? Where were you born?
Actually, I was born here in Calgary, but spent very little time living here because I'm an Army brat. So moved back and forth across the country, Europe, Far East, you name it.
All kinds of stuff. So you went to school in mostly Army schools?
Yep, most up till grade 8. I was at the schools on the military base and finished high school and university in Edmonton.
And is that where you learned your French?
No, started learning French in kindergarten because military is bilingual, so therefore French is compulsory in the school system. And not a French immersion, but more like an intensive French. So 30, 45 minutes per day in French. And then opportunities living in Quebec. Dad speaks French, so just picked it up.
Okay. And then went on from doing that to what? At some point you must have broke out of that military life.
Not really, because when I was 18, I joined the reserves, and I've been a reserve officer ever since. So kept the family fingers in it. But I have done everything from working with street kids in Toronto to teaching languages in the Far East, to doing fraud investigations, to a teacher.
So you studied as a teacher?
I did.
That's your degree?
I did.
All right.
So,
so how did you come to be involved with Canadian Parents for French?
Well, my wife and I were members first because both of our kids, our daughter was in French Immersion, our son is in French Immersion, and we got involved in the Edmonton Catholic chapter of Canadian Parents for French, and I specifically started to help with the Gala d'Art Oratoire, which is a public speaking celebration. And from there, I heard about the position when it came open and applied, and here I am almost 7 years later.
Wow. Okay, so it's funny how these things kind of happen and you take advantage of the opportunities. Your turn, Nicholas. Where were you born?
I was born in Edmonton, Alberta.
Okay.
At the Royal Alexander Hospital.
Which I understand recently hit a record for the number of babies born.
It did, yeah, because mom works there in labor and delivery, and
yes.
711 births in July.
Wow,
National
that's a
record.
lot. So what school do you go to?
To Holy Cross
The
Academy
Holy Cross.
Internationale.
And what grade are you in?
7.
You're in 7, and you're obviously in the immersion program.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hear you speak French a little later, and we'll ask you a few more questions on how you like that. But first, let's talk about the Canadian Parents for French organization. If you can give us a few stats, Michael?
Sure. Canadian Parents for French is 38 years old. We'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary with Canada's big birthday celebrations in 2017. Here in Alberta, we've been around for about a year less, about 37 years. And been supporting French second language education in this province for the whole time, but French immersion really took a hold in the province about 34 years ago.
So 34 years ago, that would be 1981?
Yeah, early
Something
80s,
like that?
late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And, okay, so how many schools have French immersion students, that sort of thing?
Here in Alberta, there are approximately 220 French immersion schools all around the province, with approximately 41,000 students in French immersion And then we have just under 150,000 students who study French as a second language.
Okay, and you're involved in that
We are.
part of the program
Right.
also. Now, of course, Canadian Parents for French, that's Canadian.
Yes.
Are there branches in every province?
Every province except Quebec right now, and every territory with the exception of Nunavut. And we're working on that. But yes, we are a national organization with volunteers, staff, chapters, branches right across the country.
I see, okay. Are you seeing some sort of level of success, or have you, over the 7 years you've been there, have you seen a development as more and more students enrolling? What are the trends?
We, last year, so we haven't got the statistics from Alberta Education for the last school year yet. We're hoping to get them by the end of the month. But the previous year, with that 41,000, that was almost a 6% increase over the previous year, and that was the largest increase in the country. And so with numbers like that, it puts Alberta as being the third largest provider of French immersion in the country.
Wow, so it's
right.
very, very well widespread and coming along very well here.
It is, and I think people are, across the country, people are somewhat shocked because Alberta has that image of being very conservative, in some cases redneck, and some of our more successful programs are places like Pincher Creek and Okotoks and Innisfail, so not even in the major centers. The major centers have very successful programs, but you know, very well established, very strong programs in these small communities.
Everywhere, yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of value given to education across the province, really.
Right.
So
Right.
you can certainly see that coming. So, Canadian Parents for French, what's its mission? What are some of the official objectives of the organization?
You know, I guess in the executive summary version of it, CPF, Canadian Parents for French, is mandate was originally started because English parents and allophone or non-English parents wanted the right to have their kids educated in the official language of their choice. And what we're looking at really across the country when we're looking at French second language education is we want to make sure that there's qualified teachers, that the kids are proficient, that there are opportunities outside of school, so sociocultural activities for them to be able to learn the language. They can function in a school environment, but quite often you get them outside the school, they're at a loss for words. Right? And so that's sort of a random sampling of some of our goals.
Okay. Let me ask you a couple questions, Nicholas, about what it's like to be in the immersion system in Alberta. So at the level that you're at, how much French do you do in a given day?
We have English class, so that's not French.
Yeah.
So the rest of the classes are French.
Everything else is in French. Wow. And how do you find it? Is it pretty easy? Is it just like regular school?
Yeah, it's like regular school.
It's just like regular school, not a particular challenge or anything like that. Okay. And was it the same all the way through? Have you've been in the system right from the start, have you?
No.
Well, you haven't.
You have. You started in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not from 34 years ago. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to imply that you're still there. But I guess just sort of a natural thing arriving when you started school in kindergarten. Did you speak any French?
Not in kindergarten.
Not in kindergarten. So you learned it sort of as you went along?
Yeah.
Yeah? And is everybody pretty much the same? It's
Not everybody.
Not everybody?
In our school. Multiple kids don't know how to speak French, so they came to school to learn French.
Okay. So there's people joining the program in each year, is
Yeah.
there? Okay. All right. Well, I guess that makes it kind of fun. You've got some new people coming in and you get to show them what you can do and help them out. Great. Thanks a lot. Now, I understand there's a big event coming up here soon.
Yeah, we do. We're hosting our inaugural, we call it Falling into French weekend in Canmore, the weekend of October 23rd, 24th, 25th. It is an opportunity for families to come together in one place to not only celebrate their love of French, because obviously these English parents putting their kids into, not only English, but a lot of immigrant families too, putting their kids into French immersion, but also providing an opportunity outside of school to allow their kids to practice their French in a non-threatening, safe environment, doing sociocultural activities.
Having fun.
Having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how many families, how many people typically attend these weekends?
Well, we're limited for this event to 30 families, and we're almost full. We just started doing this year. We did one earlier this year in the end of February in Jasper. And when we originally thought about this, I was figuring, if we get 10 or 15 families, I'm going to be pleased. We ended up having 37 families with over 140 participants with over 60 kids of all ages.
So logistically, that gets to be a little challenging, does it?
It does. And Jasper was much easier to do the programming because we partnered with Parks Canada in their Palisades Centre. It's an environmental stewardship facility that specializes in programming. And so they got their French-speaking staff in, and so the kids functioned for the whole day in French. This coming event in Canmore, we are partnering with ACFA Régional de Canmore and a French immersion teacher here in Calgary that does summer camps to provide the programming for the kids.
And who is that?
Eric Shalom is his name, actually.
Oh, okay. All right, just thought
I had to stop and think about that.
Get his name in there.
Yes.
Many thanks to Eric. And what kind of feedback do you get? Obviously, is it very popular?
Yeah? Because a number of the families that are coming to Canmore were in Jasper, and so they're coming from all over the province, basically.
Okay.
We have one family coming down from Grand Prairie for it, so it's, well, we hope it's going to be even more popular.
So will it be an annual event at this time of the year?
We're hoping so.
Falling into French?
Yep. Falling into French by September, October.
That's for the southern Alberta area.
Southern Alberta.
And in Jasper in the spring then?
Jasper, we're already pre-booked again for the end of February. So Jasper in winter. And we haven't opened registration yet, but we're getting inquiries.
Is there a cost for the weekend?
There is. So this particular one in Canmore, it is $500 for the weekend, and it includes all the accommodation, most meals, all the programming for the kids, any costs affiliated with the program, a banquet dinner with French entertainment on the Saturday night, and on the Sunday morning another family activity. So for a weekend away, that's a pretty good price.
That is pretty good when you consider the nightly cost of staying in Canmore.
It is.
Just for the hotel, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's.
So we're subsidizing it. So.
Okay. So have you been to one of these weekends?
Yes, I was there in Jasper last year.
Oh, okay. And was it mostly kids from your school, or was it from all over the place?
It was all over the place in Alberta.
So you got to meet a bunch of
new kids,
bunch of new friends.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a deadline for registration? Actually,
we have about, I think as of this morning, there was about 6 spaces left.
Okay.
So if you're interested in it, visit our website, and the links are there to register, and get it in as fast as you can.
As quickly as possible. So let me ask you another question, Nicholas. Why do you think it's important? Why do you think it's valuable to be in French immersion in Alberta?
When you grow older, you can go to the airport and have a job and speak 2 languages. Okay. Most people don't speak 2 languages at an airport to help you, so it would be good if you speak 2 languages.
So an example would be that. What about traveling in the world? Has that ever come in handy for you?
When I went to France, it was helpful when we had to speak French.
When you had to take your mother shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So that's worked out really well. Well, thanks a lot, fellas. It'll be time for our French segment in a few moments. Please stay with us. On continue en français.